Good morning, Captain. Hello, how do you do? As we're happy to see you. And whatever the other Captain Kangaroo song said. Hey, good morning. Beep, 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 beep. Everybody out of my way. Hey, Chris. It's a rainy day in the neighborhood. A rainy day in the neighborhood. Would you be mine? Could you be mine? We're all gonna get wet today. Hello, today. Chi chi chi, lay lay lay. Hey, Texas. Does it snow here? No, it does not. It snowed here 4 times in the last 70 years, and then only on mountains off in the new territories. Evening rush hour Calgary. It's actually just getting started because it's only about 8:37 here in Hong Kong, and I opted today not to walk around the peak because there's nothing to see up there because of the clouds. I decided I'd go walk in the city and show you guys life in the city. Hey, welcome, Arumzi, to Hong Kong. We're kind of near Hong Kong Park. We're at Kennedy. So this is Cotton Tree Drive, and we're about to cross over Kennedy Road. This is the Kennedy Road basketball court in Hong Kong. I often mention that a scene from the movie Wall-E was written here, from what I was told. A guy who worked for Pixar as an animator editor came up with a line that eventually got worked into the movie Wall-E right there while he was playing basketball with his mates. The guy didn't seem too thrilled. So yeah, we're crossing over Kennedy Road right now. Over there you can see that black bridge. That's the Hong Kong tram, the peak tram that makes its way up to Victoria's Peak. This is not the really steep part right here. It's at a pretty mellow angle. Where are we heading? I don't know. We're kind of heading till we get 10,000 steps. We're at about 2,500 right now. So we got to walk about an hour. We're going to go for about an hour walk in the city, and then we'll go home. I was going to go up to the peak, but the peak is, well, kind of shrouded in clouds today. Hello. We did have some rain. There are palm trees, banana trees. I have my rain shoes on today. These are the shoes I wear when it's raining. These are also Asus gels, but they're my rain shoes. 3K, oh, okay. 10,000, no, I go for 20,000 steps every day, to be honest. So in the morning I go for 10,000, and then I usually get another 10,000 sometime during the day. There's a Rolls Royce. That's an old one. That's a Toyota. 20,000 steps is about 10 miles. I walk about 10 miles every day. So this is a little convenience store right here, this Coca-Cola thing, next to another little convenience store and next to a Chinese laundry. Yes, that's actually a bakery too. Why are there all 3 little convenience stores in the middle of nowhere? There are RAV4s, but not a lot. Because right up there is a school, and there's a bunch of school kids who come down here for lunch and grab lunch at those little convenience stores. Surprised we haven't seen a tram yet. There should be a tram coming. One way or the other. What? Oh, that's not that. Do they have sesame chicken? Most of the American Chinese dishes that you're used to, they don't sell over here. Though there is an American Chinese restaurant that serves American-style Chinese. Walking. Hey, thanks, Charlie. Chris. One of the glitches with apps like Runkeeper and stuff here, all the GPS-based apps, is that the GPS in Hong Kong gets kind of wacky because of all the buildings. Hey, privet. Because the buildings block the GPS signals. So suddenly, like when I do a GPS-based walk, I end up walking like 200 kilometers. That's because the GPS jumps me back and forth all the time. Wonton noodles, very, very possible today. So this is the Peak Tram tracks. Oh, and the tram is moving. We have movement. We have movement. And here it comes. David Turpin. It's like Totoro, I thought. Digital currency. Oh, cool. Kind of a choo-choo, kind of more of a just a funicular tram system being pulled up by a cable while one goes down. They do trust that cable. Oh, he's got his light on now. It has a secondary braking system, though, if there is a problem. That's kind of cool. He's pretty close. That's why he honked at me. I really want to put my GoPro on the tracks and let the tram run over it. I wonder if they'd get pissed. I'm sure they'd get pissed. I think it would look cool as hell, though. Do I have my GoPro? I do have my GoPro. Oh, shoot. Could have done that, yeah? So, all right, we can go into the heart of the city and look at people, or we can go into the park and look at turtles. What do you guys got a preference? Turtles or office workers? That orange thing I passed, the trash can? That was a trash can. Turtle, people, turtle. Oh, it's a big toss-up. I like turtles. Office drones. I will note that most of the office drones are pretty young women. Let's see if that changes the votes of anyone. These orange things, my kids call minions. They're actually trash cans. It's a little chillier today. It's about 16 Celsius. I think it's about 66, 68 in American. I've got a hoodie on today. Though later today, if the clouds clear up, I'd probably be sweaty if I kept my hoodie on. Maybe we'll go look at the people and then we'll go look at the turtles, yeah? We could go on a nice long loop so we can see everything. I haven't taken you guys to the church in a long time. Let's go over to the cathedral. Oh, there's a dog. So this is where you get on the Peak Tram if you're a tourist. Hidden secret, if you have an octopus card, which everybody does, you can sneak in on the commuter angle, skip the huge lines, and just pretend that you're a commuter. I do that all the time. So I just walk right up, tap, like, hey, how's it going, Frank? And they're like, my name's not Frank, but how you doing, sir? And then I like go in as like a commuter, and I don't have to wait in line. Do that a lot. That's a Guaylo rule. That's one of those things you get away with being a foreigner. Speaking of foreigners, there it is, the U.S. consulate. That is a U.S. diplomatic post with a consulate general and 9 U.S. Marines guarding the base, or 8, I can't really remember. It's the only building I've ever been told I can't film when I'm here in Hong Kong, which is why I'm filming it now. Screw them. Their rent-a-cops yelled at me once. I got a few of those blogs. That reminds me. Oh, this is loud. It's gonna get really loud. I don't know. That's not even. There's actually a much, much bigger tree than that one on the other side of the embassy consulate. Not really that old, probably, because they were probably. During World War II, they were probably blown up, so maybe 70 years at most. I don't know. That's the walk, don't walk indicator for the visually impaired. Every stoplight in Hong Kong has one of those. It's become kind of a ubiquitous sound to Hong Kong. What's that? Green burial, scatter ashes at sea. Join the bundless and be free. So that was a public service announcement to bury yourself at sea. The reason is that the cemeteries in Hong Kong are full. So they're putting up public service announcements to bury your ashes at sea. No, this is Hong Kong Island. We're in central Hong Kong at St. Paul's. Hey, thanks for the hearts. At St. Paul's right now, Cathedral. This is a Anglican church, Church of England, dating back to about the 1850s, 1860s when the British built it. And it occupies one heck of a piece of prime real estate in central Hong Kong. Nah, nobody cares about it. Oil tanker spills on the other side. It's hours and hours and miles away. No, the Catholic Cathedral is up on the mountain over there. This is the Anglicans, Church of England. Yeah, Jonathan J.K., John Ho, Rhea, Zora, myself, we're all scopers here from Hong Kong. This is a declared monument. Built in 1849, the Anglican Diocese. It's the oldest surviving Western Christian building in Hong Kong. That was a long time ago, wasn't it? Over here you see the new temples of worship. That's the Bank of China and Citibank, Bloomberg, Goldman Sachs. People today, they prefer to worship money. Over here is an interesting thing. No, they can't go up there anymore. It's rather annoying. So that is the grave of Private Maxwell. Private Maxwell, Hong Kong Volunteer Defense Corps, December 23rd, 1941, age 22. Private Maxwell was one of the Hong Kong Volunteers, the militia force that was put into service to protect Hong Kong from attack. They were known colloquially as the Eurasian Unit because many of the members were mixed race, Chinese and Caucasian. The Hong Kong Volunteers joined up with British regulars, Canadian Winnipeg Grenadiers, the Rajputs, and the Punjabs from the Indian regions and defended Hong Kong from attack against the Japanese. However, Hong Kong fell on December 25th, 1941. Known as Bloody Christmas, Japanese troops seized the entire island, imprisoned all of the British civilians, and led on a reign of terror for the entire course of the war. Later in the war, the 8th Air Force and the U.S. Navy dropped a whole bunch of bombs on Hong Kong, sinking Japanese shipping and attacking Japanese military positions. They still find old World War II ordnance up in the mountains and in the hills all the time. We have a UXB crew, unexploded bombs, who go around the city whenever there's a new construction site looking for World War II munitions, and quite often they find them. Yes, a leaf blower would be more effective, but that would take one person and get rid of 3 people's jobs. It's far more easier to give 3 people a job at minimum wage than it is to buy one leaf blower. So they have those big old brooms. We're heading into central Hong Kong now. We might start to see some more people. Passing the Standard & Chartered Bank and the HSBC Bank. Let's go down. Let's go this way. Let's go over to HSBC. Let's get our daily dose of Tron. Signal will be a little bit weak, but we'll come back if it goes away. Hey, Indonesia. Welcome to the Standard & Chartered. There's actually a restaurant here, but it's only for Standard & Chartered employees. This place is like a lounge, but it's only for Standard & Chartered. Now, you guys thought I was joking when I said they worship money. They do. They even have stained glass windows in the banks. Now, how the hell do I get out of here? I think I go through here. Yeah, I go through here. One shy. It's a little bit far. We're going to walk around Central for now. Yeah, I can get out this way. It's about, hang on. It's 8:51 on a Friday. We are on Queens Road Central, actually. Queens Road Central. And then we're going to come out and go under the HSBC headquarters for Hong Kong. So that's Queens Road Central. You see in front of you. There's a lot of cars coming. I mean, count Teslas. One Tesla. Two Teslas. Always lots of Teslas here. 7:51 Long Island. Yeah, 8:51 in Hong Kong. And you on a Friday. So this building over here is the former French mission, French consulate. It's one of the other colonial buildings in Central Hong that remains. After World War II, British forces, British government sort of requisitioned this building and turned it into the government headquarters. Boy, mate, how's it going? So here we are under the HSBC building. This building was basically inspired by Tron. So if you look up in here, all you can think about is like Disc Wars and games, because they've got like neon everywhere. They have an ATM. Actually, I should go to the ATM machine. I need some money. So the ATM machine here gives you US dollars, euros, Japanese yen, or Chinese RMB. Yeah? So this is a foreign currency machine. This one, yeah, renminbi, US dollars, Japanese yen, or euros. So I can get 100 euro notes, $100, 10,000 Japanese yen, or Chinese $100 bills. It's really quite nice to have an ATM like that instead of having to go to a stupid currency exchange. It rips you off. Let me get some cash real quick. Now, let's see if I can remember my PIN. I always remember my PIN. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's, oh, I should do it backwards. Give me some cash, some savings. Give me my, I don't know what I want. Give me about 300 US dollars. That'll get me through the weekend. Average income of a Hong Kong resident is about 2,000 US dollars a month. If they have a college degree, it's 3,000. That said, there are a lot of people making a lot more than that. About 50% of the Hong Kong population lives in government housing, government or subsidized housing. And healthcare is free. Healthcare is paid for by the government. So there's my money. I've got some 500s. I got some 100s. Let's go over and take a look at the lions here. Yeah? So these are the HSBC lions guarding the Brank, as they have been for almost a century. They were here. I didn't forget the card. You have to take the card out first to get the thing. The foreign money machines do not have high transaction fees because we all have multi-currency accounts, and we can basically exchange currency almost at the bank rate. So there's really no fees there for card numbers. So over here, though, you can see the damage in the lion, yeah? See this? And this hole, and this one? Shrapnel, bullet holes, Japanese artillery pounding Hong Kong and filled this lion with holes. This lion was taken as war booty back to Tokyo. After the war, US soldiers found these lions in a scrapyard outside of Tokyo, and they were identified as belonging to HSBC in Hong Kong. So they returned the lions to the British government. The British government returned them to the bank, and the lions were cleaned up and put back on guard duty. Some of the other statues in this area were melted down, though, during the war. We have 7-Eleven and Circle K. We don't have much call for donuts, though. There's not a lot of donuts here, so wow, it's like kind of nice. If you've been paying attention closely, you'll probably notice a disproportionate number of females walking by rather than men. One of the facts of Hong Kong is that there are too many females and not enough men, especially in the ages 20 to 30, where there's probably 1,000 females for every 800 and some men. Or if you make it single men, it's every 700. So, needless to say, it's a dating-rich environment for single men. And it's kind of can be a lonely Friday night for a number of women here in Hong Kong. Some of the people have a cold or a sniffle, and it's considered very, very rude to go to the office with a cough or a sniffle without a mask. Yeah, it's rough being a single guy here. You can get really tired, I think. This is the Court of Final Appeals. This is our Supreme Court building. This used to be our legislature. Before that, it was the Court of Final Appeals. They kind of moved it around a lot of times. There the ends the Bank of China. This is the old Bank of China on the right, with the little red thing on the roof. Do kids skateboard in this park? No, they do not. It's actually quite bumpy. And the kids are too busy to skateboard here. I mean, honestly, when school's out, it's violin tutor or Mandarin lessons or math tutors or sports or whatever. You don't really have a lot of skater kids. You know, you don't have a lot of kids with basically unstructured free time. Oh, it looks like they're filming a movie here. So there's a rack of clothing arriving, probably for a fashion shoot. Fashion shoots are very common. I'm gonna get hit. That was close. Badminton, ping pong. Basketball's popular. Football's pretty popular to watch, I guess. I don't think it's encouraged. I think it's just a fact of life. So that's the public library for Central. They won't bother them. So if you've been to Whitehall in London, you've seen this, the cenotaph, the monument. This is an exact copy of the one that's in Whitehall, made out to the glorious dead. Those Hong Kong residents who served in World War I and in World War II. This memorial was placed here by the British after the First World War. You might notice, however, there are no flags flying. Technically, you should be flying Canadian flag or British flag for all those who died. But I have heard of Comac. I've been to Comac. But the Chinese government is kind of sensitive about that, so they don't allow any flags to be flown over this, except the Chinese Communist flag. Let's go walk around some more. Let's go walk down to the Star Ferry, and then we'll walk along the waterfront, yeah? Been here about 8 years. Ciao, Italy. Ooh, Skittles. Video games. Hong Kong is part of China. You can see over there. There you can see the Chinese national flag. There it is, the communist flag flying above the Hong Kong flag. And the green flag is the flag of the Hong Kong Postal Service. That's the post office headquarters over there. But in fact, actually, now that I think about it, right over there, see that building there, right in the center of this picture with the, looks like the upside down building? That's the Red Army. The People's Liberation Army. That is their garrison in Hong Kong. There are armed Chinese troops sitting behind those gates, chanting little communist Mao slogans all the time. It's actually a bit humid today. It's not very tropical. I'm down in the middle of the city, yeah? So it's a little streety. It doesn't smell bad, but it is a little moist. Do I speak Chinese? No. English is the official language of Hong Kong, as is Chinese. English and Chinese are both widely spoken. The places I go, to be honest, they don't even speak, nobody speaks Chinese. The menus are in English. If you spoke to them in Chinese, they'd look at you like, what do you want? No sound. Maybe your volume's down. I've been here 8 years, 7 or 8 years. 8 years this April, I guess. Wow. How much do I need to take to a vacation here? Well, you know, there's round trip airfares. There were $360 from Boston. Yeah, there's an airfare sale. It's crazy. It's like 320 round trip Boston to Hong Kong on Air Canada, or you can go from Washington D.C. round trip for 340 Air Canada to Hong Kong. Yeah, so there's this airfare sale right now. Go to google.com/flights and check out the fares from Boston or Washington. I don't know about New York, it might be there, but go to google.com/flights and you can compare all the airfares at once. Guys, it's like living in a Chinatown in New York City. There's very little. I mean, this is the most American city I've ever been to overseas. What's to see in Hong Kong? Well, there's a lot of outdoorsy life. There's a lot of city, urban streets and markets, shopping. You can take a ferry. You can walk the streets and buy pretty much anything. You can go up under the mountains. Rough estimate staying there 2 weeks. Honestly, it's the same price as going to Chicago for 2 weeks, yeah? I mean, if you're going to eat modestly, you're going to eat at McDonald's, you're going to eat at like some middle-priced places. The subway system is very cheap. That's how you're going to get around. And you'll probably just stay at an Airbnb place. I mean, that's what I would recommend. Get an Airbnb place for 2 weeks. Much cheaper than a hotel. So, yeah, there are a lot of single women. I know people who've lived here over 40 years and they don't speak a lick of Chinese. Singapore, the English is sort of like the official unifying language, though most people speak another language. The same is true here. Most people speak Cantonese at home, but they understand English. I mean, there are instances like if you get like some plumber or something like that, he might not speak English. Yeah, you're gonna have to figure out some way to tell the plumber, I flushed my kid's Thomas the Train down the toilet. You know, that doesn't really translate easily. But you know, a lot of other stuff, plenty easy enough to survive. What you usually end up doing is you hire a nanny who speaks a little bit of Cantonese, and then they can tell the people what's going on. It is cheaper to fly round trip to Hong Kong than it is to fly return in your own country sometimes. I know it's absolutely mental, but it's cheaper for me to fly. It was cheaper for me to fly from Hong Kong to San Francisco and then back from Washington to Hong Kong than it was to fly from Washington to San Francisco. There are a lot of tailors here. I don't know if they're any good. Do I know any Chinese curse words? Yeah, of course. It's the first thing you learn. But most of the curse words I know are Mandarin, since my wife is a Mandarin speaker. There are no casinos in Hong Kong. There are casinos in Macau. There is, however, sports gambling in Hong Kong, quite a bit of it, and horse racing. Horse racing is huge here in Hong Kong. Looks like somebody's doing a vlog. A lot of people doing some filming here. No idea why. Tourists. Of all the crappy places to set up a tripod, this is where pretty much the crappiest. Pots and pans you can buy in a street market. There's a kitchen and houseware market. You can even get a pot that's big enough to like cook a human head. I mean, it's so humongous. That's on Shanghai Street. There's one public golf course, and it's on an island. You have to take a ferry to get to it. There's a couple private courses, but they're expensive. Subway is gorgeous. Subway is absolutely beautiful. It's one of the best subways in the world. Weeds, we got kudzu, we've got Bermuda grass, dandelions, but most people don't have a garden, so you don't really deal with weeds that often, or you just have a lawnsman go out and hit it with Roundup or something. Here's our Apple store, one of 6 Apple stores in Hong Kong. We do have a lottery, but they don't pay very much. What, smoking apples? I'm not really into smoking apples. Maybe that's a new thing in California, I don't know. There's a carnival here this week. Cannabis is illegal everywhere, yeah. The average rent for a Westerner is about $10,500 US a month. $10,500 US a month. The average family in my son's international school is spending $11,500 US a month. I pay a lot less than that. I don't pay anywhere near that. You eat noodles, they're really good. No, I'm not lying. Actually, you can look up the South China Morning Post, just had a story this week, scmp.com, and you can read a story about rents. $10,471, I think, was the average rent for Westerners, Western businessmen, basically, per month. Yes, of course, per month. My son's international school is on the south side of the island, which is a little bit more expensive, and the average rent there is about $11,500, $12,000 US a month. Minimum wage is $4 an hour US. My son's best friend, their family spends about $31,000 US a month, $31,000 per month. That's about, well, we're paying about $8,500 a month for a 1,000 square foot 3-bedroom. So we have a 1,000 square foot apartment, barely 1,000 square feet, and it's $8,400 a month. It's about 20 years old. It's a little bit run down, to be honest. There's not a lot of homeless here. There's only about 2,000 homeless people. There are a lot of people who are living in substandard housing, though. Average rent in the USA? I don't really know. In New York, it's high in New York, but it's nowhere near Hong Kong. Hong Kong is actually the most expensive city in the world. I think we win that award every year. Woohoo! Yay! There are gay clubs in Hong Kong. Gay marriage is not ever going to be legalized here, though. Go to Singapore and get a suit, yeah. Why so expensive? Because 75% of the city is jungle, and you can see the jungle up there in the mountains right now. I'm not hiking the peak right now. Jungle, mountains, beaches. Only 25% of the city has been developed, and only 4% of the total land is reserved for residential places. There's just not enough room for 7.3 million people. The population density in Hong Kong is double that of Manhattan in some parts. The average salary for a Hong Konger with a high school degree is $2,000 US a month. With a college degree, it's $3,000 a month. But an average expat in the finance industry is making about $12,000 to $15,000 US a month, plus a bonus, plus cost of living adjustments called a package. So the average expat in my son's international school is easily on $250,000 US. Easily on $250,000 US. I do live here. We pay about $14 for a gallon of milk. I pay about $10 for a box of Cheerios, $6 for a thing of salad dressing or brownie mix. Gasoline is $8 a gallon, but there's only 500,000 private autos in Hong Kong. Most people take the subway. So we're down at the Star Ferry Pier. There's no ferries coming at the moment, though. Making our way across. Average salary is $2,000, but the rent is $10,000. Yeah, see, because the average Hong Konger lives in government housing. 50% of the population lives in government or subsidized housing. I'm not lying about the food cost. The average expat is not eligible for public housing. They have to live in the higher, and they also want a higher quality housing, a bigger place than a Hong Konger. So they pay about on average $10,471 for the average expat. The crime rate is incredibly low. It's one of the lowest crime rates in the developed world. We had 22 murders last year, for 7.3 million people. That means Chicago could have 8 murders a year. LA could have 12. Baltimore, if Baltimore could pull off 2 murders a year, Baltimore would have the same murder rate as Hong Kong. I do drink imported US milk because the imported Australian milk is almost $25 a gallon. Cigs, I don't really know about cigs. I don't really smoke. You have to understand we have no agriculture to speak of. I can pretty much get everything because we do have U.S. grocery stores that import things. What I don't get, my mom sends me, like popcorn salt. Popcorn salt is really hard to find here, like flavored popcorn salt. And good barbecue sauce. I have to import from my favorite barbecue. $8 for a gallon of gas. Government housing can be a couple $100, like $200 or $300 US a month. Healthcare is paid for by the government. We have a national health service, basically, so everyone's healthcare is paid for. $80,000 a year. If you're single, it's not as bad. I mean, you'd be paying $2,000 to $3,000 a month in rent for a place you'd like. But other than that, and you also have to pay U.S. taxes, but U.S. and Hong Kong taxes. How can we afford to live here? Well, they tell you not to spend more than 30% of your income on housing, and well, we don't. So we do. I understand the main business of Hong Kong. We'll just point out the buildings here, okay? Goldman Sachs, Bank of China, AIA Insurance, Chinese International Bank, JP Morgan, HSBC, Standard Chartered, Merrill Lynch, Bank of America. Are you catching a theme here? Catching a theme? Yeah, that's right. This city is all about finance. So most of the expats here are involved in the finance industry, and many of them make, a hell of a lot of money. It's not smog today, it's actually clouds. It's raining today. We've got a front coming through bringing us rain. We make enough money to survive. So we're now down on the waterfront in Hong Kong taking a look at the carnival. This is the Grand European Carnival, the Great European Carnival. It comes here every Christmas and it stays until Chinese New Year. And we come down here and just party on, play games, stuff like that. Air pollution is bad in China. It can be bad here in Hong Kong. It's not bad today. Today it's just clouds. In fact, it's actually kind of nice. The clouds usually wash out the air. Why are all U.S. banks here? Because there's business to be done here. Because U.S. companies buy Chinese-made goods, and Chinese companies need U.S. dollars and vice versa and all that. Can you get chupa noodles at the supermarket like a student? Yes, you can. Bangkok is pretty rough. Water looks low. Maybe just the tide. It's not typhoon season right now. Chinese food expensive? No, you can actually eat pretty cheap. In fact, where I usually eat for lunch, it's like $5 for noodles and a soda. So we're heading over into the Admiralty District now, named after the Admiralty. The British Admiralty used to have their headquarters right over here. You can get whiskey. It's pricey, though. I actually have a friend who works for LL Bean here in Hong Kong. No, she works for Jack Daniels. I keep forgetting that. Yeah, Jack Daniels has an office here. One of their main businesses, though, is to stop pirates, counterfeits. I don't really know the price of liquor. I don't know. I know that, like, if you go to a bar, it can be insane. So I went to a bar once called the Captain's Bar in the Mandarin Oriental Hotel. And I was waiting to meet a fella, and I said, you know what, just give me a Diet Coke. He's like, yes, sir. So he rolls out a can of Diet Coke, opens it up, puts down a little tiny bowl of peanuts, and hands me the bill. $11 US. $11 for a Diet Coke and a thingy of peanuts. I was like, yeah. That's a pricey bar, yeah. There are cheaper places where you can get a Diet Coke for like less than $1. The genie life back. Hang on a second. Oh dang, wrong number. I don't want to call my buddy, I want to call my wife. I'm trying to call the wife on phone number 2. Here we go. Hey. Hi. Whatever he is wearing. They don't care. I did hear. Okay. All right, bye. All right, that was easy enough. Are there ladies of the night here? You have to understand that it's legal here in Hong Kong, yeah? So they're not really walking around the street. They're advertising on their websites and inviting you over to their house. I'm not kidding. Okay. So now we're only going to get so close to this next building because they get really, really annoyed when I film them. I eat out all the time. I eat out every single day. I eat out lunch pretty much every day. I eat out dinner maybe 3 or 4 times a week. And I eat breakfast at home. Okay, guys, let me see if I can zoom in here a bit. Yeah, I don't eat it very often. Okay, you see that sign? All hail the Communist Party and its teachings. And you see that big fence? Can you see him? He's not there. He's just behind the fence. Little communist soldiers. That is the Red Army garrison, the People's Liberation Army, based in central Hong Kong. And this is their garrison. And I'm being filmed right now by about a dozen cameras, running facial recognition on me. Hi, guys. So over there is Wan Chai. Right now we're in Admiralty. We're going to go into this area here. This is the legislature called LegCo. It's our government. What the? Oh God! I just hate urban planners who make sidewalks to frickin' nowhere. Hey, let's build this really nice sidewalk and then let's just stuff the people so there's no way for them to go flipping anywhere. Ugh. Stupid. My father was a teacher at a university, a professor, and we was talking to the dean once, dean of construction, and he was like, why don't we just build the building without a sidewalk? And then let's just see which way the kids walk, and then build the sidewalk whichever way they walk. Because the kids always take the shortcuts no matter what we build. I was like, oh yeah, that kind of makes sense. So this is our government headquarters over here, called Tamar, T-A-M-A-R. Over there on the left is the LegCo, our legislature, a quasi-democratic organization. Unfortunately, it has a number of people put in place to control, to do the government's bidding. Okay, so up we go into this building. There's the little commie base over there. Yeah, there's not a lot of fat people here. Never been here before, and a great time to come. We were just talking about this earlier. $340 round trip from the East Coast. $340 US round trip to Hong Kong on Air Canada. So it's $170 each way from Washington, or $140 each way, or $150 each way from Boston. There's a special fare on Air Canada. Go to google.com/flights, and you guys could be over here tomorrow for less than the price of an iPad. Hell, less than the price of an iPod on eBay. Any Airbnbs I'd recommend? No, I don't really know any, to be honest, off the top of my head. I can give you neighborhoods to recommend. No, not Canada, Boston. I have friends, I made tons of friends. There's a normal life here. In fact, if you watch my scopes, you'll see I often run into people on the streets. It's a very small city, even though it's a massive city. 1,000 a night from Canada? No, not really. I mean, there are places that are $80 a night. In fact, so over there, so the building with the heliport over there, this bubby here, this is the Peninsula Hotel, yeah? But next door to it is the YWCA, or the YMCA, And then you get a place there for like $60 a night with a beautiful view of the city skyline. It won't fly, why not? What? Air Canada is having this airfare sale, but I bet the other airlines are going to match it soon. I love this thing. My kids used to climb on this. If you're not really used to traveling a lot, I'd live in the mid-levels. That's the most Western places you can be. That is US dollars. So go to the mid-levels. It's a very westernized area. If you want to be more local, more experienced, you could look at Mongkok, the densest population area in Hong Kong. The closest thing to Blade Runner you'll ever experience on planet Earth, Mongkok. But a lot of Airbnb places on Hong Kong Island. Do I want to practice law one day? When I am diagnosed with a terminal disease, I will go back to practicing law because that will lead to me committing suicide. Below $100 US a night, the Garden View Hotel right up there up by the park. It's small rooms. It's nice enough. It's right in next to the zoo, the Garden View Hotel. So this sculpture actually plays music. Let me get the mallets out. Yeah. So you take a mallet here, ding, and you hit the tones. Dun 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 dun. Dun. It plays the Chinese national anthem, the March of the Volunteers. Dun 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 dun. Yes, this is Hong Kong. Law is that depressing. Being a glorified copy editor? Yeah, that's what being a lawyer is all about. This area of the center, sort of just off from the center. Central Hong Kong is right over there. I'm in Admiralty. This is McDonald's Gourmet is here. Ooh, we could go to McDonald's Gourmet. This is sort of just next to that area. Patent attorney in Chicago. Oh, okay. Here's hoping he has a long life. This building was in the movie Ghost in the Shell with Scarlett Johansson. That was the headquarters of Hanaka Robotics, the evil guys in the movie Ghost in the Shell. I am from the United States, but I've lived here 8 years. This is my home. I've permanent resident of Hong Kong. I have my green card, so to speak. Means I can stay here as long as I want. We're going to go down in this area. That's police headquarters over there. You see in all the Hong Kong mafia movies, they always have a scene of those buildings there. Let's go to police headquarters and talk to the detectives, stuff like that. Ooh, let's go down to the McDonald's Gourmet. And I'm not kidding, it is a gourmet McDonald's. It has waitress service. It has customizable hamburgers. You order by a computer touchscreen. My McDonald's makes your McDonald's really look sad. Prisons, I don't know if they're that rough. I've never been there. What kind of work do I do here? I'm a dad. Hey, Stockholm, I haven't had lunch. It's early. Are there jobs for U.S. citizens? If you have an advanced a skill, yeah. You're not going to come here, though, as a plumber. You're not going to come here and sell shoes. You could come here as a banker. Are people rude here? Common question unanswered. Now, are people intentionally rude to me? No. In fact, I've had people be far more rude to me in the United States than ever here in Hong Kong. However, are people, due to their actions, their native culture, sometimes perceived as rude by Westerners? Yes, of course. You have to understand that this is a very dense city. They have millions of people. They have to do things quickly. So like when you go to a restaurant and order food, they don't small talk with you. They're not like, hey, how you doing today? We've got a special today on this. No, they don't. They're like, what do you want? Why? Because they got to feed 7.3 million people in an hour and a half. They don't have time for that. In fact, you trying to be polite by your standards of culture would be considered rude, taking up their time, which is far very more valuable. So there's sort of a cultural disconnect on what is and is not rude. Anyway, let's go into McDonald's Gourmet. Oh, look at those pancakes. Delicious. So this is my McDonald's. Weather is about 67. This is McDonald's. So you order your meals on a computer touchscreen, and then they prepare it at this custom bar, and then they deliver it. Waitresses bring it to you Well, the touchscreens do away with the cashier jobs, but it also creates waitress jobs who bring the meals to you and clear your table and everything. So it's kind of a trade-off. Oh, it's the Cozzers. Hong Kong police drive Mercedes. These Mercedes vans. Guys, you can check me out on YouTube, Penguin 6. I've got a lot of my videos up there. In fact, if you want to see the gourmet McDonald's, I have a whole series on my YouTube channel, Wacky Food at McDonald's in Hong Kong. And you can see me eat all sorts of strange things. This is the line for taxis. Oh, it's my spookiest ad. Okay, you guys got to see this. This is freaky. Okay. So over here on this bus, oh, wait a second, I'm gonna get hit. God, there's a lot of cops here today. Oh, what's going on? So, all right, yeah, so here, okay, so you see this? It's an advertisement for mattresses, yeah? And to make you inspired to go to sleep, they put the guy who created the mattresses on the ad. All right, look at this guy. This guy is under your mattress. He's there with a chainsaw and a hockey mask, all right? He's got like a meat cleaver in his pocket, and he's under your mattress. What the hell? What sort of PR guy decided to put Mr. Spooky Steve Jobs / Evil Spock on the side of an ad? I don't know, man. That just like scares the bejesus out of me. I'm not going to bed. Not with that dude there sitting under my bed ready to kill me. Steve Jobs, it's Evil Spock. It's Goatee Spock. Yeah. It's an emergency unit. I don't know what's going on. What's a work week like? It's pretty much the same as it is in the US. Look, we've got 3 police cars here. This is abnormal. Now there is, I bet there's a high profile. I'm gonna get hit. There might be a high profile prisoner transfer coming. Australian-made mattresses by Freddy Krueger. I'm from Washington, D.C., but I grew up in Illinois, hence the Midwestern accent. I've lived here 8 years. I know, isn't it weird? The language is English. English is the official language, as is Chinese. I speak the English part. Wife called me again. Hey, babe. What's up? Yeah, I think February 9th. That's what I'm going to write back. It's just easier because Parker's game is on February 3rd at 8 a.m. So I just don't think they'll be rested enough. Connor's is at 11, so he can sleep a little late. Okay? All right. Okay, sorry about that. I really don't know how many steps. Do you have a Selfridges? No, but we've got, what's this one over here? This other really posh, Harvey Nichols. So Harvey Nichols is over here. Wife's a banker. Cartier, Mont Blanc, Tiffany's, Bulgari, Burberry. So guys, this mall basically sells everything that you would ever see in a Vogue magazine. Export goods, what do you want to export? Do people even need knowledge anymore? You just go to Alibaba.com and find what you want. Alibaba.com? This is very expensive. Dude, this is the posh and posh. Yeah. In fact, there used to be a place selling wait a second. Macaroons. Oh wow, look at that. Dang, that's 200 bucks. 200 US. That's 100 US. 100 US. Oh, look at the bear. The bear is $80 US. This is 200 US. That's 100 US. Wow. Does your wife collect Louis Vuitton handbags? My wife is very sensible. If she doesn't really go in for all that. Hermès, Montclair. Yes, it's a very posh mall. So there's Louis Vuitton over here. It's actually got 2 floors of this building. Let's go down here a bit. So that's Louis Vuitton, and then Chanel is on the other side. No, Dior. So that's Dior up top. Yeah, English is the official language here. Here we go. Rule Britannia, Britannia rules the waves. So this is a high-end toy soldier shop. Yeah? There's Montgomery, the full Monty. The rearguard act. Supposed to be the Dunkirk exhibit right here. Ancient Egypt, streets of Hong Kong, King and Country, wheels and tracks. So this is a store called King and Country, and he just sells little tiny soldier men. Yeah, toy soldier men. Look at all these Nazi tanks he's got. These are World War I tanks. I play with that at Battlefield 1. This guy's got like every tank. There's the Royal Hong Kong Police. King and Country. Oh, it's Prince William. It's the wedding of Prince William and what's her face? Boy, she looks ugly. He's even got some Civil War. John Ford U.S. Cavalry set. King and Country. Anyway, it's kind of cool. Yeah, there's a Churchill, The Darkest Hour. They have all their little Churchill dolls. I'm going to see that this weekend, probably. Hong Kong does not belong to the UK on paper, but culturally, the ties to the UK are still very strong. Many people send their kids to UK boarding schools. In fact, in some UK boarding schools, they're almost 40 or 50% Hong Kongers. Dolce & Gabbana, I don't know, Emporio Armani, there's Chanel, Prada. Prada, I think, has 3 floors, yeah? Jimmy Choo. Hogan. I didn't know Hulk Hogan had a fashion line. I guess he does. Is there any? Well, there's no guns allowed, so you can't hunt. I mean, you could hunt with a knife, I guess. You can go fishing, though. There's a lot of fishing. 75% of Hong Kong is undeveloped countryside. It's all mountains, hills, lots of wild boar. Yeah, there are no guns allowed in Hong Kong. Hong Kong folks can afford this. Some. A lot of this is for mainland tourists or visiting tourists from other centuries. What else we got? Gucci over there, Bottega Veneta, Versace. Yeah, no guns. The food court here. Yeah, there is no Cinnabon here. Yeah. No Cinnabon, no Orange Julius, no food court really. It's actually pretty early. Yeah, it's not even. It's like barely 9 o'clock. Yeah. What time is it? So we've done 7,300 steps so far. We got another 2,000 or so to go. I had a French burger a couple days ago. I'm thinking today might be fish and chips. It is Friday. I should be a good Catholic and eat fish on Friday. Yeah. If there are any illegal guns, they're extremely rare. There's not a lot of shootings. Most of the murders in Hong Kong are by strangulation or meat chopper or something like that, cut up. A few poisonings. That said, we have one of the lowest crime rates in the world. Your chance of being involved in a violent crime here are incredibly low. Most people feel safe going out at night pretty much any time. I think in the United States, something like 42% of the people say they feel safe walking the streets at any time. Here in Hong Kong, that number is 85% feel safe walking the streets at any time. That has a knock-on effect. As more people go out at night, more stores stay open. As more stores stay open, more people go out. As more people go out, there's less crime. And it's kind of a nice little catch-22. There are lots of gangs here, they're triads, but they're by and large concerned with beating up each other rather than innocent civilians. When an expat, when a foreigner gets involved in a crime here, when a violent crime, it's actually news in the paper. You know, foreigner robbed on the street. You know, that's like a big deal. Well, this is a pretty posh part of Hong Kong. In fact, my wife works over here. someone. I don't see her right now. We're gonna go up into Hong Kong Park now, yeah? In fact, yeah, they feel very safe. In fact, when you ask expats, what's the one thing you'll miss about Hong Kong when you leave, most of them say the safety, the feeling of total safety, the feeling of letting my kids go out and just do whatever and not have anything to really worry about, not getting mugged or stuff like that. That's pretty much like one of the most popular reasons for expats to stay here, especially American expats. You know, in the United States, you're on your guard. You're on like code orange all the time. All right? You walk in the streets of the U.S., you're always like, okay, who's that guy? What's he doing? Is he following me? Am I going to go down this alley? Is it safe? You know, you're kind of like on, you know, Amber Alert or something like that all the time. But here, we're just freaking Bambis. Yeah, New York is like that. Washington, D.C. is like that. Any major city, you should be like that. You should have what we call the situational awareness of Jason Bourne's. Do they wear a face mask when visiting the U.S.? They might. I don't really know. I haven't been to the U.S. in a while. An expat, expatriate, all right? Expatriate is someone who has moved from their country and will eventually one day repatriate back to their country, return to their country. It's someone who's come overseas for a period of time before they repatriate. So you're an expatriate when you leave, and when you go back, you're repatriating. You are in Hong Kong. So expat is short for basically a foreigner or someone who's working here, you know, but does not actually, not a citizen or something like that. So colloquially, you know, all of us who work in finance or whatever, we're expats. Though the fact is, technically, many of us are legally immigrants because we've lived here so long, or we have no intention of leaving, so we should be called immigrants and not expats. There are too many thugs in many parts, and then it's a knock, and then the stores don't stay open, and then there's no reason to go out at night, and then only, well, certain people go out at night. Do I have an investment here? What do you mean? I mean, I own some stock in Hong Kong companies, but I don't own a house. It's about 16 Celsius. I guess that's about 68 Fahrenheit. Who wants me to jump in the fountain? You actually can go in the fountain. I'm in Hong Kong Park, in central Hong Kong, on Hong Kong Island, in the Hong Kong Special Administrative Region of the People's Republic of China. How did I do that? It's actually designed that way. There's steps that go in, and you can walk around that fountain without getting too wet. I mean, I did get a little bit wet, but not very much. I got a little bit wet, like, yeah, my feet, just basically the splash, but other than that, no, I didn't get wet. It's a pretty cool design fountain, isn't it? Yeah? Let me tell you, when it's like 90 degrees and humid, that's a very popular fountain with my kids. I can't get them out of that frickin' thing. The minimum wage is $4 US an hour. I spend $14 for a gallon of milk, US. There's not an embassy, there is a consulate. A consulate is sort of a consular affairs are things like visas and passports and whatnot. Diplomatic affairs are policy things. Diplomatic affairs are handled in embassies, which are in the capital of a country. Consulates are all over a country and handle all the paperwork. This is a clock tower. This is an old British military base. So this entire park used to be a British military base. And these are all British military barracks that have been repurposed now as museums and restaurants and things like that. Political talk? Oh, okay. What else can we talk about? Bullion trading agencies. Well, gold is very popular here. Is it fake? I don't know. I assume it's all pretty legit. I mean, you know, I've lived here 8 years. I don't trade in gold. It's a fear-based currency. I don't really find a value in it. Not to say you can't make money in it. It's just not something that's easily translatable. Actually, it's interesting. The only market forces affecting gold prices is this holiday in India, in which a number of people have to buy gold, and that actually has an impact on gold prices. Bitcoin is popular. I like turtles. It is starting to rain a little bit. Huh. It's a tough and thankless job, scrubbing out the rocks. So over here is this round Coliseum building, yeah? This round atrium over here is known as Olympic Square. This building, if you looked at it from an airplane, would look like a circle, is known as Olympic Square. Go figure. You might not know, but part of the Beijing Olympics were held here in Hong Kong. The equestrian events of the Beijing Olympics were held in Hong Kong due to a virus, an equine virus, that was very common in China, and the world's top equestrians refused to send their horses to mainland China for fear of getting infected. So they decided to have the horse events here in Hong Kong. This is the wedding chapel. This is the Hong Kong government's marriage registry. It's an old British building, but it's got a lovely setting in the park, and that's where they do all the weddings. Water on my lens? No, not really. I think the signal just degraded for a reason. I don't know why. This is the rainbow arch to protect the brides in their wedding dresses when they make their way to the wedding registry. Video quality went down. It happens. Bummer. Hopefully it'll come back together. Just got to bear with it. We get a better signal, it'll upgrade. What are we at? Yeah, it is really low quality right now. It's just until we get 5G, we're going to have to just kind of stuck. It'll come back. Eventually Periscope it's slowly improving. It's up to 122 now. 134. So it's getting better slowly. I can see the statistics on the resolution. Now it went down again. In some ways it's more advanced, in some ways it's kind of antiquated. Oh, who likes fire trucks? Everybody likes fire trucks. At least guys like fire trucks. So here we are at Central Station. Oh, we got a run going out. So I think there is Wi-Fi all over the city. Oh, I think they're just backing up. Bummer. I wanted them to come screaming out of the station like bats out of hell. I think they are just getting a warm-up. Oh well, bummer. You'll notice the fire trucks are British fire trucks, or Scanias. These are European-style fire trucks. The roads are very narrow, so big old American fire trucks would just basically smash everything. I think they're just playing with the lights. How many ambulances they got there? 3 ambulances today. Yeah, fire trucks. Here they dispatch. Actually, here they have paramedic motorcycle units. So they have motorcycles with paramedics, and they go out first, and then the ambulance comes. Let's cut through Citibank, yeah? Interesting. Yeah, some sort of thing. So Citibank's in this building. Yeah, it's actually not that big of a city. It's pretty easy to cut around the place. Is it easy to get a mortgage? Yes, but you have to put 40% down. So you need to put a 40% down payment to buy a place. My place, if I was to buy my place, would be $4 million US dollars. And so I would need to come up with 1.6 million US as a down payment. How well can you do? It depends what kind of tech you're in. It depends. I mean, if you're like a coder, well, then you're up against 16 billion coders in mainland China and India. If you're like a manager, you could do best in HVAC tech. You're actually not going to have that much of a luck because most of your work would be customer facing. You would need to speak Cantonese. Unless you're really like mega HVAC, like humongous units that sit on top of skyscrapers and cool down like 7,000 floors, then you might qualify. But for like home grade air conditioning, you wouldn't do well because the locals would undercut you on price so much. But the big jobbies, there's always a market for big construction stuff. What type of business can you do? Well, the most common business people do is import-export. Let me rephrase that. The most common thing people do is teach English, okay? Come to Hong Kong, teach English. If you have you can make like $50 US an hour teaching English, but I think you need a college degree. If you can't do that, then what a lot of people do is import-export. You know what one of the most popular imports to Hong Kong is? Kirkland's peanuts. Yeah, the peanuts that you buy at Costco. Oh man, everybody loves those peanuts, loves those cashews, loves those almonds, those Kirkland brand cashews. So there are entire businesses, I kid you not, entire businesses in which one guy goes to Costco in the United States, he buys everything he can find at Costco, puts it on a shipping container, sends it to Hong Kong, and resells it for a 50% markup. That's a whole business. There are whole chains of stores that are nothing but Costco importers here in Hong Kong. And the number one seller, Kirkland peanuts. They love nuts, especially here in Asia. If you've ever had Chinese peanuts, you would go ape for Kirkland peanuts. Chinese peanuts suck. I mean, Chinese peanuts are like, they suck. Yeah, the only way to put it. Let's go walk through Central before we go home. I think we're about at our step count. Where are we at? 8,700. All right, a little bit more to go, but we'll be all right. Is it generous to the homeless? No, it's complicated. So there are not a lot of people sleeping rough, okay? There's only about 2,000 people sleeping rough. The government does try to get them into shelters when they can. Now, there are, however, a lot of people in substandard housing, living in basically shacks or small subdivided cage apartments where you're living in like a caged apartment. Google caged apartment Hong Kong, you'll see what I mean. It's pretty frightening. But by and large, there's not a lot of street people like you have in the United States. There's not, the mentally ill are kind of rounded up by the police and taken to a home, and the homeless are kind of shooed. If you're a layabout, or as my uncle used to refer to them, just a bum, you're shamed into finding work and getting off the street. I mean, there are a lot of people in the U.S., at least when I lived in Washington, D.C., who are essentially basically street people. They live on the street. They're not mentally disrupted that much, but they don't have a house. They just sort of run back and forth between odd jobs and what like that. So my wife is a banker. I don't really see people like that often here in Hong Kong. They're more settled. Their families, they live with their families. Don't they feel cold? It's about 65 Celsius, right? 65 Fahrenheit right now, so it's pretty warm. I'm actually hot. I've got a hoodie on. I'm hot. It doesn't get that cold here. It doesn't go below freezing more than once or twice a year. Yeah. Well, you know, if your grandma is homeless, it's your fault as a grandson. Or if your cousin is homeless, it's your fault as a bad cousin. There's a lot of pressure on families to take care of their own. There's a sense of shame. You know, God, if someone saw your grandma homeless, I mean, you'd be fired from work. You would be fired from your job as a bad grandson. I mean, you know, that's just not how it is. Most of the old ladies I see that are homeless have nobody left. That's why they end up on the street or something. How's the video? Is it improved any? Oh, I'm gonna get hit. Send me Costco peanuts. Healthcare is paid for by the government. My mom can send me peanuts. Got to offer me a better deal than that. So literally what people do is they rent a shop for 1 month. Yeah, like 30 days. They get a container of frickin' everything, like diapers and baby milk and stuff like that. And then they just sell it at cheap prices to whoever comes by. Cars are very, very expensive, especially luxury cars. The tax on a luxury car is 115% of the fair market value. So if you buy a BMW for $100,000, you pay $115,000 in tax. I do have helpers. Yeah, you can hire a person for $600 US a month to take care of you or your elderly. So many older retirees have 3 or 4 Filipinos living in their house to take care of them. Gasoline's $8 a gallon. It's not cost effective to have a car. It is cheaper to walk, take a taxi, or whatever. Yeah, total $215. Now my annual licensing is about 1,000 US. Every year I have to pay 1,000 US for a car license. Yeah. But one of the benefits. So one of the benefits of everybody walking is it helps control obesity. You guys probably will not see many fat people as we walk through the city. No, bicycles are a little bit dangerous. It is expensive to own a car. I need to come here later today. I desperately need to come here. I got to return something. My car needs a license, yeah? So I have to renew my registration every year on my car. And it's $1,000 US every year. We do have a freeway, but mainly over in the new territories, not so much on Hong Kong Island. Hong Kong Island was set down over 100 years ago. The roads were built for carriages and horses, not really for cars. There's not a lot of room. I mean, this is a 3-lane road considered wide, though one lane always gets filled up with illegal parkers. We're going to get hit. Fish and chips today will be about noon. 12 o'clock noon, I think we'll go for lunch. It's raining. You know what's up ahead? Cake. Cake. I don't want to go for noodles or fish and chips. We'll decide later. If it's noodles, it'll be about 11:30. If it's fish and chips, it'll be noon. And if it's cake, it would be right now. There are traffic meter maids and stuff. Oh, the rainbow cake. I've had that. That's yummy. Golden chestnut cake. I want to make a cake today. Maybe I'll go home and have the nanny make me a cake. I could go for a cake today. I get the blue cod. It's flown in from New Zealand every week. It's a New Zealand style fish and chip place. So it's got a golden batter, lighter, not as fried. We got a tram jam? Oh, we got a bus accident. Uh-oh, this is not going to be pretty. So we got two buses that have collided, and it's going to create a tram jam. Trams cannot pass where buses have smashed. Oh, that's minor. We didn't even break the window. Oh, see, it's two different companies, so they want to bitch about each other. Oh boy, so here's what's going to happen. The trams are going to back up. Trams are going to back up. It's going to be ugly. So we're going to have a tram jam. Buses, they should clear that out. They're not even damaged. Wimps. Let's post that though. There's a Hong Kong traffic accident. What time is it? 9:58. 9:58. Devo Road. Bus. V. Bus. Tram jam. Forming. So this is the Hong Kong Emergency Incidents Facebook group. So we post that on the Hong Kong Emergency Incident group. And then everybody knows to avoid. I should put the exact location. Devo Road near Petter Street. There's cops already on the scene. So bus versus bus. It'll take forever. In fact, people are already commenting on it. He's calling for help. He needs to move his passengers over. So they're transiting. So the passengers from one, I guess that's standard procedure. Get them on the same bus. Here's the cops. They're like, come on guys, move the thing. Oh, it's just a kiss. But see, it's two different bus companies. So one bus company isn't going to let the other bus company get away with that. They're going to blame them. It's not even a crash. I mean, they didn't even break the window. That doesn't count. Already getting comments on my Facebook post. Of course, the comments are all in Chinese. I have to get the translation. Translate. The trains are all stuffed. Yeah, the trains are all stuffed. Wasn't even a fender bender, but you know. Yeah, the video quality sometimes goes downhill when we're down here in Central. I'll tell you what, we're going to head back and get a taxi. It's about time for me to go home for a while. It's starting to rain. I'm going to come back later. We're going to go get some noodles or fish and chips. I haven't really decided. That'll be between like 11 and 12 o'clock, which is in about 2 hours from now. It's 10 o'clock right now. So in the next, oh God, it's an hour. God. So maybe in the next hour we'll go get noodles, yeah? I also have to return some slippers to Marks and Spencer. That's also on my assignment. You know, if this bus was moved like 1 meter to the side, all these trams could clear out of the way. All these other bus drivers were like, what the hell? I will be online later. We're going to go to lunch. We'll be showing you lunch. And I'll probably put up a YouTube on my YouTube channel, Penguin6, a little bit later as well. So the other trams are being held back at Petter Street. The other trams aren't coming into the system because they would clog up the road completely, I think. We'll see. Yeah, so the trams are backing up over there. All right, guys, I'm going to sign off from here. I don't know who moderates the chat. You guys all moderated itself. Anyway, thanks for watching. I'll be back in about an hour or an hour and a half, and we'll give you more from Hong Kong. Feel free to follow me to get a notification or check out my YouTube, Penguin6. Instagram, Penguin6.